Hey, Stride Collective. Welcome back to another episode of Extraordinary Strides, where we lace up, we level up, and we sprinkle a whole bit of magic into every single mile. Today's episode is going to be a sunshine soak special because we're officially springing forward into a brand new season of running. So whether you're shedding winter layers or sweating through surprise heat waves, this episode is for you. We're talking about all things heat, from how to safely and smartly acclimate to temperatures as they rise, to race day strategies when Mother Nature throws a hot one at you, even if you trained in the tundra. Plus, we've got a special guest segment that's near and dear to my sparkly little coach's heart. I'm chatting with Ashley and her beau Cole about all things springtime surprise. This is the final flourish of the Run Disney race season. And if you've ever wanted the inside scoop on this whimsical, wonderful weekend, or just need some joyful vibes to carry you into your next training block, you're going to be in for a treat. So grab your favorite warm weather hydration and throw on that sun visor. Get ready to spring into some seriously smart and seriously fun strides and tips. Let's get to it. First up, we're going to go ahead and discuss how to transition smoothly from winter to warm weather running. So when you've spent months crunching snow under your sneakers or dodging black ice like a ninja, layering up like a stylish onion, the promise of spring running feels like a warm hug from Mother Nature herself. But before you break out the tank tops and toss your gloves into the back of the closet, let's talk about what it really takes to transition from winter running to warmer weather miles safely. So whether you're a fresh-faced newbie or seasoned runner, you're going to chase some really fantastic PRs and some warm weather tips right here in this conversation. So let's get into it. First and foremost, respect the heat, even when it's just quote unquote mild, using air quotes here that you can't see. So here's the deal. Even if spring temperatures feel downright delightful after a long winter, and you want to just get out there and frolic quite a bit, your body still needs time to acclimate. The science of heat acclimation, well, let's get into that. Your body undergoes several adaptations to deal with heat, including increased plasma volume so your heart doesn't have to work as hard, improved sweat rate efficiency, that's right, you sweat earlier and more effectively, and lower core temperature during exertion. So it can take about 7 to 14 days of consistent exposure to warmer temperatures for these adaptations to occur. The issue is that this time of year with spring, there's a little bit of the weather kind of going from warm to really cold again, warm again. So your body may not be really able to acclimate appropriately. So give yourself some time once it does get into consistent warmer temperatures, but you're going to want to ease in with shorter runs at lower intensities. You're going to also want to consider splitting your longer runs into 2 parts, maybe morning and evening. I'm a huge fan of that, for the record. I used that to survive the Marine Corps 50K training during last year's summer. And I could talk all about that for an entire podcast. If you're interested in that, let me know, because I'd be happy to bring that up. And then, of course, around these here parts, we love walk breaks. They're not just allowed, they are brilliant. So add them in as you're starting to acclimate to those hotter temperatures. Also, be very realistic and mindful. If you've been seeking the shelter from those really cold temperatures on the treadmill, it's going to feel a little different when you first get back out there into Mother Nature's nice warm hug. So again, we're going to want to prepare accordingly by layering down strategically. Yes, it's tempting to go full tank top and shorts at the first hint of 60-degree weather. I mean, not me. I'm going to probably wear a long sleeve tank with that. But y'all who are used to colder weather, your body is going to still act like it's 30 degrees outside. So this is kind of a really short little guide and tips for most folks that are more acclimated to all 4 seasons of what to wear when temperatures are in transition. So if you're about 45 to 55 degrees, you're going to want to still wear a long sleeve top, maybe shorts or light leggings. At 55 to 65 degrees, that might be when you can break out the short sleeves and shorts. And then at 65 Fahrenheit and above, you're going to want to, that's your time. You can get that sleeveless, light-colored, moisture-wicking gear. Bonus tip, you're going to swap out those dark fabrics for light-colored or white ones. Not just because you want that bright, sunshiny vibe of spring with all the beautiful colors to replicate Mother Nature and the flowers and the birds and the bees. That may be a different podcast too. But also because dark colors absorb heat, and we want you to not have that in addition to the warmer temperatures. We want you to absorb all the good vibes of spring, but not the UV rays. Okay, in the league right now, in the Extraordinary League, we are working on all things nutrition and specifically starting and kicking things off with hydration. And I want you all to know it's not just a summer thing. You may not feel as thirsty during winter or spring, but it doesn't mean your body isn't losing fluid. The increase in your sweat rate with heat acclimation means you need to be more mindful now than ever. So stay hydrated by starting to stay hydrated. Drink water 60 to 90 minutes before your run. Drink throughout your day. Don't just try to do it on the run, but also sipping mid-run if you're running longer than 45 to 60 minutes, taking those fluids with you, and then rehydrate smartly. Include those electrolytes, especially sodium, in your post-run recovery. You don't want to get into hyponatremia and take your water where you're drinking so much water that you aren't allowing your body to really absorb all the beautiful electrolytes. So a little bit of a conversation about that is that sodium helps retain the fluids that we drink. So without it, you're basically, you're just going to the bathroom all day long. So practice your race day hydration starting right now. If you know that you've got a warmer weather race on the horizon, there is not ever a bad time to get started. So let's get started on it. Let's get moving and grooving with it. You definitely don't want to just focus on your race day hydration the week before your goal race because your gut is trainable, just like your legs. That's why we talk about those hydration and fueling strategies as part of your training. Which brings us to the next conversation, my friend. I'm doing a little shoulder shimmy because I'm so loving this conversation that we're having here. You're going to update your fueling game. Cool weather often lets you get away with a little bit of lower fueling because your body isn't working as hard to regulate internal temperature. But in warmer weather, energy demands increase. You're going to want to fuel up or you may fizzle out. So taking in 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrates per hour for runs over 75 minutes, but I'm going to actually say maybe even 60 minutes. You're going to also want to make sure that you are absolutely getting your fuel in before you go out for your run as well. There's a whole big conversation about that right now, but specifically for female athletes. We really do know that female athletes respond much better when they have a bit of fuel before going out for their activities. And you can choose simple, quick carbs like energy gels, chews. You can do bananas or dates, or, I will always talk about fig Newtons. So really listen to what your body needs and wants, but get it in, my friend. And of course, as I've already mentioned, we're going to make sure to get those electrolyte-enhanced fluids with part of our fueling. Now, if you do feel a little off in the heat, it could be that you're under fueling or maybe even a little dehydrated. So again, that heat decreases your appetite and those thirst signals, which sounds a little counterintuitive, but stay on top of your intake, even if you don't feel hungry or thirsty. Okay, this next one is going to be a little bit harder for most of us runners, or maybe us older runners, to really get into because we may have developed a few bad habits. Well, we want to make sure that you're not skipping the warm-up. Seriously, don't. Cold weather running often starts with a hustle just to get warm, but in spring, you might feel like you're ready to rocket out the door. Resist the urge, my friend. Warm-ups matter more in the spring because your body still remembers winter mode and might not be ready for those faster paces yet. So a good dynamic warm-up helps to prevent injury during that seasonal transition. A few favorites of mine: a 5-minute walk, some dynamic drills like leg swings, lunges, butt kicks, high knees, and then go ahead and transition into an easy peasy lemon squeezy conversation pace for maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, depending on what your workout's going to be that day, before you transition into any of those faster paces like speed or tempo, or if you're doing hill sprints. So no matter what your pace goal is, though, we're not going to skip our warm-ups. Pinky promise me here, okay, my friend? Next up here, we're going to reassess our goals. Then we're going to go chase them. Spring is an ideal time to build fitness, test new gear, try new routes. I mean, who's not feeling extra? You feel a little bit bubblier this time of year. The sun is making a gorgeous appearance after months of hibernation. Of course, you want to try new routes and you want to aim for races, but it's also a great time to practice adaptability. So check in. Your pacing may look a little different than it did at the end of last season or at the beginning of the winter season. And of course, spring weather is a little extra. There might be sudden rain or wind gusts or, goodness gracious, we all know pollen bombs. It's all part of the season. So be flexible with your schedule, your pace, your body, and your gear. Focus on consistency over perfection. So this is a goal-setting refresher here. I'm going to suggest that you choose a short-term goal, like a local 5K, or maybe even a movement streak where you get in some yoga one day, get in a little bit of running the next day. And then I want you to revisit your long-term goals with fresh perspective. Then build in benchmarks so you can celebrate along the way of what you're looking to get out of not just this season, but what you may be looking for 3, 6, maybe even a year from now. Also, let's take into account really quickly that we not forget that where we are today isn't necessarily where we're going to be in 6 months of consistent training. So if you're feeling like maybe you had your shoes in the back of the closet and you weren't really getting in a lot of runs and you're feeling like you're a little rusty or maybe a little Tin Man-like, it's okay, my friend. Just give yourself an opportunity to take a good deep breath and assess, and then let's target our next big audacious goal, knowing that when we work toward it, we will more easily achieve it. Okay, a little bit of a bonus round when we talk about this season of transition and change and resurgence and all of the lovely things about spring, about safety and a little self-care. I've already touched on it a wee bit, right? Allergy season survival. A lot of us suffer from allergies, so you want to check those pollen levels before you go for a run. Check with your doctor about taking antihistamines to see if they work for you. Of course, maybe running early in the day when pollen counts are lower, depending on where you're at. Maybe for you, your pollen count needs to be a little bit later in the evenings. So check into that and see how you can assess. Of course, finding refuge on that beautiful treadmill is a perfect opportunity to do so. Be mindful that when you do come inside from a post-run, if you were in the outdoors, you want to avoid dragging pollen into the house. So be prepared to maybe jump in the shower shortly after or change your clothes out. There's also a lot of bugs this time of year. I mean, it's beautiful. They're doing what bugs do. They're helping to pollinate and spread a little bit of extra cheer as well. But there's some bugs that we don't particularly love quite as much. So let's be mindful of maybe using some DEET-free bug spray if needed. And then, of course, if you're hitting the trails, let's watch out for those ticks. And this is always a wonderful reminder. I know that you're using sunscreen year round, but you're definitely going to make sure to maybe check its expiration date and slather it on with a little bit of extra SPF this time of year. Don't forget under your chin, the back of your neck, your ears. There's so many spots that maybe that UV can impact. Also, take into account that while we're loving these longer days that are right on the horizon, that it also means that if you're an early morning runner, you still may be getting out there in those really dark o'clock kind of times. So this is where your Nox gear or reflective gear is going to really come into play, or maybe night runners for your shoes. Make sure that you can keep everything lit and visible. Again, this season is your invitation to shed the heaviness of winter, stride forward, fueled, hydrated, and heat smart. So whether you're blooming into your first race season or just emerging from treadmill hibernation, transitioning to spring running isn't just about swapping layers. It's about reconnecting and honoring the science of how incredible it feels to get in and connect with nature. Really, I'm not kidding you. There's just so many fantastic benefits of taking your runs outside if you have the opportunity to do so. I'm definitely going to encourage you to do that. Now, my friend, I promised you that we're going to also talk about how we tackle hot race days after cold winter training, because before I bring in my very special guests where I get to talk all about Springtime Surprise and their running, we know that heat happens, and it's likely going to happen for Springtime Surprise. So it seems like the perfect opportunity to talk about this, because for the most part, a lot of you have been training through frosty mornings, icy sidewalks, heading indoors for those treadmill runs. If you were outside, you probably had enough base layers to qualify as an official burrito. Hey, we love burritos around here. But you're feeling strong, your training is dialed in, you're ready to toe that start line with confidence, but boom, you decided to run in Florida in April. or anywhere else where there is a surprise little bit of a hot wave or a heat wave coming in, the forecast drops the ultimate plot twist and race day is looking hot, 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 right? Well, maybe even a little unseasonably hot for some of you folks. Well, your body, it's still operating on sweatpants and cocoa mode. And here we might be more looking at those margaritas at the end of a finish line kind of mode. But let's talk about that. So first and foremost, what we need to take into account is to accept and adjust. The heat's going to do what the heat's going to do. And unless if you have some kind of incredible weather changing tool, then I would love you to call me so we could see about getting that patented. But realistically, there's nothing we could do about it. So we have to accept that race day heat is a curveball. First thing first, you're not failing if you have to adjust your race day strategy. I know that can be so hard. Maybe we're specifically training for a very, very specific time goal. But the goal is still the goal. We have to just adjust the approach. And it may be that this goal is a different race day goal. And here, for any of those hot weather temperature races, you may not PR, but that's okay. So focus on effort-based running instead of your pace and have those A, B, and C goals, A being best case scenario that somebody does have weather changing technology, but B being still solid in your effort and knowing that it's hot, and C is finishing strong and staying safe. So your body, again, as I've mentioned, you need about 10 to 14 days to fully adapt to heat. Likely, if you train through the winter months, it's going to be pretty hard for you to acclimate. So we're going to talk a little bit about what you can do to prepare how to stay cool. So pre-game like a pro. We've already talked about hydration, right? We know we're going to stay hydrated. We're going to stay hydrated, and we're going to make sure to also keep in mind those electrolytes, that sodium that we're going to need for race day. And we're going to maybe even have to change a little bit of our hydration strategy for our race. We're also going to avoid alcohol or overly salty foods. While we need to keep in our sodium, you want to be mindful of finding the right balance for you. And then celebrate with alcohol after your race, my friend, but not before. You're going to carb load with hydration in mind. Opt for juicy fruits if you have access to like watermelon and berries, and carb sources like water content like oatmeal and rice that has that little extra bit of hydration in it. I know we often think of drinking our hydration, but there's a beautiful benefit of also consuming our foods that have that extra hydrating as well. Potentially, you may want to freeze a water bottle overnight for your race belt, maybe freezing like at least one of them if you have multiple bottles, so that as it sips, you can sip on it as it melts in the morning or while you're waiting in the race day corral, so that it's still nice and cool for you. Of course, you're going to wear light-colored, loose-fitting, moisture-wicking gear. Using ice bandanas or cooling towels or a cold sponge is all going to help you when you have to toe on up to that start line. Okay, now we talked a little bit about modifying our pacing plan in detail, right? So we're going to run by feel, not by numbers. You're going to go with the rate of perceived effort, and you're looking to still keeping it no more than a 6 in effort for those early miles especially, but throughout the entire race, you will want to utilize either a slower pace or a run-walk strategy, building in walk breaks at aid stations proactively or building it out with an interval timer. All of these are fantastic. I do need you to know your heart rate's going to rise faster in heat, even at slower paces. It's normal, but it's also going to require you to really assess and really pull back and look at how else you can approach this race so that you feel good crossing the finish line. That is the most important aspect. Now, we're going to get a little bit more into your hydration and your electrolytes. You're going to drink 16 to 20 ounces of water 2 to 3 hours before the race. You're going to include those electrolytes. Sodium is critical, aiming for 300 to 500 milligrams per hour, depending on your sweat rate. Take in fluids every 15 to 20 minutes if possible. And I like, when I'm actually on my race, to think of it as taking a few extra sips at every top of a mile. But again, working with what you know is best for you. Again, using electrolytes like Noon, Scratch, Elementi, or Element, however you pronounce it. And even loading up on that before actual race day. Now, post-race, you're going to continue hydrating for 24 hours, continuing with a mix of water, electrolytes, and your recovery fuel. If you have not practiced drinking on the run, try those smaller sips more often. Walk through those water stops. I have literally have data showing the difference of one of my races that I walked the water stops versus one where I grabbed the cup, pinched it, ran with it, and the seconds of differences between them did not make or break anything, my friend. So walk through the water stops. Look at it as an opportunity to also bring your heart rate down a little bit, listen to your body there. And then this is what's also incredibly important. Know the warning signs of heat-related illness. It's not just something for you to think of, oh, that's not going to happen to me. Let's be mindful. Let's be aware. So red flags to watch for: dizziness, confusion, disorientation, cramps or sudden fatigue, chills or goosebumps in hot weather. Seriously, stop. If that happens, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go directly to the med tent if that happens, or have someone that's running near you go to the med tent and ask for help. Nausea or vomiting, my friend, I'm not kidding. Heat-related illness is no joke. Please, if any of these pop up, slow down, stop if necessary, seek medical help. There will be so many more races if you're mindful that this race that's hotter than you expected is not going to be the one to take you down. So please just be more mindful of what you need to do to stay safe. Use the course to your advantage. So this is where, if you wanted to plan out some strategy of prioritizing shade along the course if possible, make sure you run the tangents. That's just good practice anyway, so you're not adding an extra distance. Use water not just for drinking. Grab some at the water station, pour some on your neck, your wrist, even your head. Tuck ice into your sports bra. There's great ice hats if you want to get one of those as well. Tuck it into a bandana. Walk the hills. Walk sections that are in direct sun if needed. Truly taking into consideration how important it is for you to be smart about the course. I cannot stress enough that slowing down in a hot race isn't weakness. It's a strategy. The people who adjust are often the ones who finish stronger and finish safely. Okay. So I know you're going to do all of those things and you're going to have a fantastic race, because that's what's most important, is for us to bring joy and feel healthy and happy. Let's also talk about recovery, because it begins the minute you cross that finish line. You get that medal and you're like, good, I'm good to go. Let's start that recovery. You're going to rehydrate with electrolytes and fluids. You're going to refuel with carbs and protein within 30 to 60 minutes. Especially if you're coming to Run Disney, you know they're not just giving out those snack boxes for no joke. You want to take in those carbs and proteins that they provide for you. Get out of the sun as soon as you possibly can, finding shade or even AC, and then avoiding alcohol until you're rehydrated well. Please, when you get back to your hotel room or your home, take a cool shower, not freezing, and then rest a little bit. It's definitely going to be important when it's hotter weather races. Now, I want you to know, mentally, it's going to be hard to prepare yourself for this, but the more that you get your mind wrapped around being kind to yourself, showing yourself grace, really honoring the fact that you trained hard, and that this is just going to be a celebration lap, regardless of what the pace is. So remember, you showed up, and that's what matters. So again, when heat happens, we want you to be ready with these tips. And if you have more, feel free to share them in the Stride Collective. All right, my friend, this next segment is a little extra magical, because joining me are two very special guests. I have Ashley, a beloved friend of the podcast and our certified Run Disney superstar, with her partner, Cole, who is bravely stepping up to the start line for his very first Run Disney race at the Springtime Surprise Weekend. We're going to chat everything about how they met, what it's like training together, how Cole's feelings about his Run Disney debut are coming along. And so whether you're a veteran runner or thinking about lacing it for the first time, this episode is full of fun, inspiration, and a little bit of pixie dust. So let's go ahead and dive in. Welcome to the show, Cole and Ashley.
Thank you.
I mean, again, Ashley, you're a friend of the podcast, so you're definitely a very familiar voice. But today we get to shine a little light on your partner in crime, Cole. So, Cole, we're excited to have you here.
I'm honestly a little excited to be here.
I mean, it's super amazing. We hear so much wonderful things about you. And I think it's exciting to be able to share a little bit of your journey to the start line and, of course, your journey together as a couple. So before we dive into your running and all things Run Disney, let's ask you both how you two met and what kind of drew you to each other. And Cole, we're going to start with you.
Oh boy. We actually met online on a dating app. And I was told that if I don't get my butt into gear and come see her, that I'm never going to see her, I'm never going to meet her. So I decided to go meet her. We met at a winery, and she tells it so much better than I do.
I think you're doing a fabulous job because we're getting to see a little bit of the Ashley patented, I'm going to call it a little bossiness, but maybe just somebody who knows her own mind. But yes, I love this. Okay, so you both swiped left, connected, and decided, let's take this IRL, let's meet up in person.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you were chatting before then, did you guys get to the fact that Ashley is such a big Disney fan, or did you learn that later on?
I think I learned that pretty quick, to be honest.
I want to say, I think that was in my profile because that's kind of like a big part of my life. And the race weekend that I called him out, I was like, we're coming to meet now, was actually Wine and Dine, the kickoff of my perfect Run Disney season. So I was already running and doing Run Disney and everything at that point.
Okay, so I think I met you at the tail end of the previous Run Disney season, ironically, Springtime Surprise. And that was before you went in to embark on your perfect Run Disney season. So you had met Cole around that time already, or did you meet him that summer?
It's actually the beginning of October, I think. We officially met online. And I was like, we're either meeting or we're not. So it was kind of pretty boom, boom, boom.
Okay. Again, and you guys have clicked so well together. Now, Cole, we know that Ashley is a big fan of Disney. Are you as well? Or were you at this time?
Not particularly. Definitely a little bit of a bigger fan now. And coming up for, what is this, springtime, right? Is that what it is? Yeah, we'll be doing the parks together for the first time. So I'm excited to have that experience with her, being able to show me everything and give me the true Disney experience, as she calls it.
Oh, okay. I feel like there's a little bit of a backstory to that. So before we get into it, I also want to know, were you a runner before meeting Ashley? Because again, Ashley, that's a big part of her life as well.
Not really. I would run when I was in high school and just out of high school, more for the cardio for hockey, because I played hockey for a long time, and running was just kind of part of the process, I'd call it. It wasn't what I focused on.
Right. Of course. Yeah. I mean, it's such a great cardio endurance background with hockey anyway. So I could see where that would translate really easily into running. Ashley, did you know early on that you were going to try to bring him over to the dark side of Run Disney?
You know, I didn't think I ever would get to that point. It really came down to Springtime Surprise was one of my favorite weekends. And it's a 10 miler instead of a half. So kind of a little different. So I was like, will you do this if I sign you up? Because as we all know, Run Disney is expensive and I'm not spending all this money for him to not show up. So we got him signed up, and little does he know that the training for the run is probably more for the parks for the amount of miles that we're going to cover.
Well, he knows it now. The cat's out of the bag, my friend. Okay. So when did you decide, I'm doing this, I'm committing to it? She's excited about Springtime Surprise. And how did that evolve maybe your dynamics in the household? Because before, Ashley, I think you kind of were queen of the treadmill and it was mainly your time on the treadmill. Now Cole uses the treadmill as well. So how do you guys split those kind of things in you're training together, but you also have to kind of figure out a different schedule? So I'm asking Cole, what does it look like for you?
Typically, I end up using the treadmill basically as soon as I get home from work, which varies day to day. And a lot of times she'll end up using it in the morning or something. Or when she does a day where she's going to be on there a while, I'll go do weights or something, or figure out something else to do.
So I feel like you guys have a pretty harmonious balance to how you approach it. Like there's not a lot of fighting for the resources of the treadmill. There seems to be a good sharing.
There are sometimes. Like when the other day, I thought he finally killed the treadmill, which I didn't think was possible. And I was kind of bummed because I want a new one.
Oh, so, I mean, maybe we'll talk about that as something after Springtime Surprise, because who knows if this may open up a whole Pandora's box of future Run Disney or other events together. Okay, let's get into it. Cole, as dating Ashley, who has had the perfect Run Disney season and is such a Disney aficionado and Disney travel expert, I mean, I feel like you're getting like truly a first class viewpoint and experience, but is there anything you've heard of her talking about this that gets you a little scared? Like, is there any part of this weekend coming up that you're kind of concerned about?
I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely nervous about it. Just in general, making sure I don't hurt myself or anything. But with everything that she says goes on the course of a Run Disney course, between DJs and character stops and everything, I'm kind of excited for it. But my goal is to finish, to just get to the end, make it to the end.
So, okay, so you're thinking you're not going to do any diversions. You're not going to necessarily do any shenanigans or lollygaggling. You kind of just want to start, finish, and get to the beer tent.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Beer and tacos.
Beer and tacos. Yeah.
Okay.
The tacos are important too.
So you're not really, there's not any facet like of the wake ups getting early. You just kind of, because this is your first bigger distance race, basically your main concern is just being able to finish the distance, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I know I can do it. I know I can make it. It's more like just making sure I keep a pace, don't roll an ankle or slip on a grate or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But I'm a competitive person, so my goal is to get to the end in the time that I have in my head.
So you do have a secret time in your head. Have you shared that time with Ashley? Does she know it?
I have, and she already yelled at me that she's like, if it takes you that long, then there's a problem.
It's my half marathon PR time.
Okay. Well, Ashley, it's his time. You can't yell at him about his time.
He runs with me and he's like jogging, not even like half effort.
Maybe he secretly does want to have a few character stops and he just doesn't want to tell us yet. Who knows? Okay. So basically you've given, because you are looking to finish, it sounds like you have this magical time in your head that maybe is a bit conservative. And I'm hearing, Ashley, you have more confidence that he can actually finish faster than this.
Absolutely.
Okay. I love that. I do love that. That's always exciting. So what are you guys thinking in terms of, have you discussed if you want to have any shared goals or experiences for that Run Disney morning or that Run Disney race itself or afterwards?
I want to do a costume, but I don't know if that's on the schedule or if he has something up his sleeve that he's just not agreeing to yet.
Well, what do you say? Costume? Are you thinking for your first one out of the gate, you really kind of don't want to costume it up?
The costume she had in mind sounded really hot. Even on an early morning, it sounds really hot. So I don't know how much I'd enjoy that.
Okay, that's fair. But you do know that if you don't agree to her costume, I'm going to make her dress up like a flower pot or something weird. So you may want to take her up on that. Just saying. But okay. So Ashley, you were thinking maybe costume. I can understand. I think for my first Disney event, I would have never thought of a costume either, just because it felt so foreign, the entire process. What other possible shared experiences are you guys hoping to have? The I did it photo at the end, sharing tacos and beer.
I think definitely for like something else, post-race, definitely like medal pictures. I mean, who doesn't want medal pictures? I mean, maybe Cole, but he's learned to love pictures because of me. So
okay. So Cole's going to agree with it. Okay. So now this, as you mentioned, this is your first full Disney experience with Ashley, the true Disney experience. Ashley, what do you have planned for this man? Does he know it all? Or are you kind of keeping some under wraps?
I'm going to go in with what I typically would do if, say, me and my mom would go to Disney, because she comes down with me a good bit. And we just kind of tackle the parks, go for like the shorter wait lines. I'm not a Lightning Lane or Genie Plus girl. So just kind of going where the rides are. But I definitely have some things that are like must do's, like the People Mover. He has to ride Flight of Passage, Safari.
I agree with all of these.
On It's a Small World.
Okay, you lost me at It's a Small World. I feel like that might be.
Please don't put me through that.
I think that might be a little bit much for the first time out. Just, I mean, the earworm, and it's a dry park, so I don't know if I agree with that one. But the others, you had me 100% on. Cole, is there something that you feel like you absolutely want to do?
Actually, we already scheduled it, as far as I know. Building droids. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but it's definitely something that I probably will enjoy doing.
I will say Galaxy's Edge is incredible as a non-Star Wars fan. I'm like, I haven't even watched the movies and I still think it's an incredible experience. So that sounds like a whole lot of fun. So you guys are diving into the extra experiences that are offered at Disney. I love that. That's such a great way of tackling it. We've already touched on the beer and the tacos. I think that this is a great opportunity for us to kind of get into a little bit of how well you guys know each other. So Cole, do you have an idea what Ashley's favorite Disney park snack is?
Oh, geez.
This is easy.
You think it's easy? Did you know it?
Okay, I'm gonna take the heat off of you for a second. I'm gonna let you marinate on that possible favorite Disney park snack, so you can roll through all the different parks and think of the things that she's talked about. Ashley, what Disney snack do you predict is going to become Cole's favorite after this trip? And we're going to come back and check.
Well, I already know this.
He loves the tacos.
I'm going to say so. Well, snack.
Okay.
The Disney popcorn.
Oh, it is?
Because when we were down, we did like a hotel experience, not parks. I made him try the Disney popcorn, and let me tell you, there have been some trips that I've literally came home with a bucket of popcorn just for him.
Interesting. Okay. I would think, I don't know. I kind of feel like you don't think it'd be like the cheeseburger, egg roll, or any of those kind of things. No? Okay. All right, Cole. I tried to buy you some time, my friend. What do you think her favorite snack is?
Well, now she jogged my memory. It is the popcorn, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that your favorite too, Ashley?
Yes. There's something about the Disney popcorn. That, and if we're kind of going into the food world, there is something else that like is notorious that we will be getting. Casey's corn dogs. Those are like the two things I have to have.
What is wrong with their relish? Like, I don't know that it should be that shade of green. That relish is scary. It's fluorescent. It looks like one of the aliens from Toy Story. So I'm just saying
maybe that's why. They're theming.
It could be. I'm curious, Cole, if you think that Ashley is likely to cry at the finish line, since this does end another really important Run Disney season for her, or do you think that she'll kind of hold back the tears because she'll just be excited to be at her most magical place on Earth?
I don't know. I have a feeling she might end up crying.
Okay.
Maybe just a little bit, but still.
I mean, it's emotional. We love it. She gets to share it with the most important person in her world right now. You, of course. I know that she'll be excited. So there might be a couple of tears. I always get emotional at the end of finish lines as well. Okay. If you could pick any Disney character to cheer you for the halfway point, who would you choose? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Cole, you pick Ashley's favorite character that she would see to cheer her at the halfway point. And Ashley, you pick Cole's favorite character or what you think it is. So Ashley, I'm going to start with you first. What Disney character do you think Cole would want to have cheer him at the halfway point?
It could be a couple, but I'm going to go Steamboat Mickey because I know that's one of his favorites. It's classic.
Okay. I dig it. I dig how we're like going back to the roots of Disney. Okay. Cole, what do you think that Ashley would choose?
Maleficent.
That's true. Yeah. That was an easy question. That was there. Yes. Okay. So Ashley, we know that that's absolutely valid for you. There's no doubt. Like if you could have her run the entire 10 miles for you, you'd be the happiest woman in the world. Cole, is it true? Steamboat Mickey would be your jam, or would you have a different character you'd want to see midway through?
No, I think Steamboat would be it, honestly.
Okay.
That's kind of my favorite. I like the classic kind of Mickey and everything. So I think that would be it.
Okay, cool. I'm going to ask you both, who's more likely to overpack for this trip?
Yeah.
It's Ashley.
Ashley, is it? I feel like you're really good at underpacking if you can't. I mean, like you.
So if I have to.
Okay.
If I have to underpack because I'm going for a weight, absolutely.
You do need to underpack. You're taking home a bazillion things with you.
Yes.
Okay.
So I will 100% overpack because I know he will very much underpack, just the basics. So like I have 4 checked bags technically between the two of us, 2 carry-ons and 2 personal items. So I intend to use the majority of that for all of the things.
So this is going to be a fun trip for sure through the airport. We need to plan for you guys to be there 3 hours early both ways. Who would you guys say has the better race playlist? Or running playlist?
I'm going to have to say me.
Okay. So I'm going to come back to that. Ashley, how do you feel about your playlist in comparison to Cole's?
So I have to say probably him just because I tend to do podcasts when I'm running or very much bounce around in my music.
Okay. So then I'm going to ask now, what are some of his favorites or some of your favorites on his playlist that come to mind? Some like true pump up jams or power songs.
I've listened to his whole playlist, but I can almost imagine that there's Zach Bryan on there somewhere.
Okay.
There's going to be Driveways on there.
We have some confirmation of that, folks, as we speak. It seems like there's a little bit of agreeing and a little bit of maybe that's not the top of the list. So I like how Ashley's playing this, by the way. Ashley's kind of throwing it out there to see if there's any like nonverbal cues that he can give her so she can go through her list a little bit longer. Very smart woman you are, Ashley.
I don't know anybody. I know there's going to be a lot of more like heavy metal kind of on it, but I don't know all of them that are going to. I feel like there's definitely Beastie Boys.
Okay, I mean, classic. Yeah. Classic. Okay. And then, Cole, what kind of heavy metal is it? Are we talking about? I mean, there's so many different genres within the heavy metal.
Lately, at least, it's been a lot of like punk, like 80s punk. I've always been like a big Metallica fan, so I throw, a couple of those in there. But it's been like 80s punk and like Beastie Boys. That's been a lot of it, to be honest.
Okay. I mean, that's amazing. Those are, again, I feel like there's a lot of classic of Cole kind of come into play here. Classic characters, classic music. Okay. So we have a theme going. But now we are going to be running at Disney. So what's the one Disney song that you would add to your list, Cole and Ashley? There's so many good ones.
I don't know if I know any Disney songs.
We'll let Ashley pick what would be a good song for your running playlist then. What do you think, Ashley?
Oh. I don't know. I feel like not necessarily a good song, but something that would be hysterical and he would totally do.
Okay.
Just to be funny would be Frozen.
Let It Go.
Yes. Like he would totally just do it just to have fun.
I mean, I think that's a good one. It's on a lot of people's running playlists that are at Disney. Okay. I mean, I feel like for both of you guys, How Far I'll Go feels appropriate. Like, how far will this whole Run Disney adventure continue to unravel, which is so exciting. Okay. I've put you both on the hot spot, but now I'm curious, like, what advice, Cole, would you give to someone who is dating somebody who is magically in love with Run Disney and Disney? Like, how do you think that they should best be supported, or what would you suggest to somebody as to how to support their partner?
Well, other than, finding a good paying job.
Yeah, smart. Yes, absolutely.
For me, it's more of a kind of just accepting it and supporting it within reason.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have to put a foot down every once in a while, but yeah, I mean, it's just kind of grin and bear it sometimes.
I mean, I feel like you're saying supporting it within reason, but here you are towing up to the start line in less than a few days, which is pretty incredible. Okay, so being supportive, but creating boundaries that are important to you as well is what I'm hearing. Ashley, what would you suggest to people that are like, how in the world does she create this magic of having him tow up to the start line? Because I've been trying to get my significant other to do that forever. Because you didn't just get him to agree to a 5K. You got him to agree to double-digit distance, which I think is pretty phenomenal.
So, and that's how I kind of got it, because he's like, just a 5K. I was like, you're not doing a 5K. Like, we're doing, if we're going to Disney, we're doing at least a 10K, which I did convince my mom also to do a 10K at Disney. And I was like, think of like the photo pass to your dollar.
Yeah.
5K is just a lap around Epcot, which is fabulous.
Right.
But it is so packed.
Yeah.
10K is a little more out there. And the 10 miler is obviously even more than that. But I was like, you're going this far. Like, a 10K is nothing. Like, what's 3 more miles? Like,
I mean, kind of, yeah. 3 more miles. The math is not mathing 100%, but I will agree with the ROI of best return on investment math. Perfect logic. So I love that. I think what we're hearing, though, folks, is that if you want somebody in your life to be convinced to sign up for Run Disney or Disney, you just don't need to call Ashley. She seems to have some kind of little magical pixie dust that she can wave to make people agree to this. And Cole, I really can't think this is going to be your only one, because I feel like you're going to embark on such a magical weekend. But let's just say that maybe you fall in love with running like Ashley has. Is there another race that's kind of called your attention, or you think you would probably stick in the Run Disney hemisphere?
As of right now, I think she already signed me up for another race, to be honest. I think I'm signed up for a 10K. But there's nothing there's nothing that really stands out to me. She did say that what did you guys come back from? Oh my gosh. Shamrock. She did say I would like that because I'm a big fan of Yingling. So that was, a big part of it. But she said I'd probably like that. And there's nothing on my radar, but I'm sure I'll get signed up for another one here shortly.
I think I can guarantee that you would like it. I mean,
gotta get him to one that have stranger danger stations along the way. And then I think we'll definitely get him hooked.
Yeah, that does make a huge difference, which again, Shamrock had all of that to it for post-run beers. I mean, that's just incredible. So with that, Ashley, do you have any thoughts that you want to share with folks as they go into their Run Disney season, either finishing up this season or starting to look at the next one, that you would suggest? Maybe some words of wisdom that you've offered Cole and others as well.
I really think it's take it all in while it lasts. That's something that I did during my perfect season, but not really until towards the end, where I started to kind of take my time on the course, meet all the characters, because that's a part of the price that you're paying, is having all the characters on the course. We have talked about doing dead last start for the 10K at springtime, and like doing those different things that aren't always a race. A lot of people say that you can't PR a Disney race, and I am proof that you can, because I've done it probably more than once. I don't even know how many times I've done it at this point.
At least twice off the top of my head.
Yeah. So definitely have fun. There are days that you're going to get that perfect weather, so you have to try for a PR, but like just take it all in. And I don't know, there's just something about a Run Disney race that is so much fun. Like I don't even turn my headphones on anymore.
Yeah.
I don't even know why I bothered taking them, because there's so much happening and there's so much support on the courses. Even just within the runners, it's always one of my favorite races that I run.
Cole, she's a wise woman. I'm telling you, that's like something that I wish that anybody who's listening to this would take in, because I say it quite frequently as a coach, but I think people don't realize it. Like, this is not like any other race. It's not one to necessarily go out there just to run it, because there are so many really incredible experiences. But again, everybody's race is different. So kind of doing what feels right for them is most important. But I can assure you that it is going to be magical. I want to thank you both for coming on and sharing your story. I'm going to be honest, I'm looking forward to talking to you guys after Springtime Surprise as well. I've already committed you to it, even though you haven't really agreed, but Ashley will make that happen. Because we want to hear, Cole, what your experience was for your first Run Disney experience, and if you end up doing more. So I want to thank you guys so much for sharing your story, letting us in on this magical journey. Cole, we're officially welcoming you onto the Run Disney family. We can't wait to cheer you on here in person. Thank you guys.
Thank you. And I want to wish Cole a lot of luck in his first Run Disney race. And I'm really excited to watch you experience Disney for the first time officially together, and watch you finish.
Well, there you have it, friends. I think we're all probably going to cry at the finish line. But this was your guide to blooming into your best spring running season yet. So from training smart in rising temperatures to conquering a hot race day like a pro, a sprinkle of that springtime surprise magic for good measure. I hope this episode leaves you feeling informed, inspired, and ready to sweat smartly. If you loved today's episode, do your coach a favor and share this pod with your running bestie, your race crew, or anyone who could use a little sunshine and strategy for their miles. You can also rate and review the podcast. Those 5 stars help our little community grow faster than April wildflowers. And hey, friend, don't be a stranger. Slide into my DMs on Instagram at League Coach Christine, or join the conversation with the community on Facebook, The Stride Collective. I love hearing what resonated with you, what you're working on, and how I can help you take your next stride towards something extraordinary. So until next time, keep it cool, keep it sparkly, keep striding toward your goals one joyful, sweaty, beautiful step at a time. And I'll talk to you soon, my springtime stars.